This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
Neal Atkinson is standing by from BetSaracen's, Arkansas's favorite sports betting app. Anytime you want to put a little wager on your favorite sporting event, you got BetSaracen on your phone. And now is the best time for sports, Major League playoffs, college football really rounding into form. Got NCAA basketball less than a month away. NHL has started, NBA preseason and everything. And Neal, it's good to talk to you today, man. And I love, every time we bring you on, we say that BetSaracen is Arkansas's favorite sports betting app, but you got the stats to back that up.
Oh, yeah. We were excited. It was a great month for sports betting. The handle in Arkansas broke a record. Previously, it was March with March Madness, but last month was a record handle for online sportsbook in Arkansas. And humbly enough, BetSaracen was number one. We had 62% of that handle, and the market, that's great. The market grew. We're maintaining our market share. Our competitors are getting better because they're trying to keep up with us. So that's great for the consumer, and it's just very humbling that we are the choice of most of the Arkansas bettors when they're choosing to make a sports bet, and that's what it's all about, and that's why we think we're successful with it too.
So let's see. Let's get into Arkansas, Mississippi State. Neal, you got the Hogs favored by 6.5, minus 240 on the money line. Line moved a little bit earlier in the week, I think from 7.5 down a point, but it stabilized. Was this? Zach Arnett's just been very tight-lipped about who's going to be a quarterback and the availability of Will Rogers,
right,
and Joquavius Marks. You got other coaches in the SEC who go about it a completely different way, like Brian Kelly. He said we're going to do an injury report NFL style, and it was because of sports betting. Zach Arnett's going at it a completely different way. So how does that change how you set the line?
Actually, that line came out, I think, at 5.5, and the Arkansas bettors pushed it to minus 6.5 like the first day that it came out, because we went ahead and published the national line, and this one is very, very tricky, because if the backup quarterback goes, I think I read he's been in 66 plays and like 56 of them were rushing, so that's a completely different dynamic on the game if Rogers doesn't go. So, that's where the bettors, when they are making their last-minute decisions and they find out who's going to be the starter, if you can react before we do, that may make a difference in the game. But I think we've got a pretty good line on this game, 6.5 in the over and under. I think it opened up around 50. It's down to 48.5 unless it's moved in the last minute or so. But this game actually hasn't had a lot of movement on it this week, except early on, and it stayed stable, and that means the consensus is pretty much on it.
Neal, what's some of your cool prop bets that you have, like a first Razorback touchdown, how far Cam Little's longest field goal is? You got some cool prop bets this week? Yeah,
we got some different prop bets in here. I just wish I could have a Rocket prop bet in here, but it doesn't look like he's going to go. But one of the ones that we've got is under our specials tabs is the KJ Jefferson over 229 passing yards and over 1.5 passing touchdowns. You'll get 2-1 on your money. Looking at Mississippi State's defense, that's one that I'm managing the risk on that one right there pretty good, because that one's one of the more popular ones that we've got that people are kind of hammering on. But the funny thing is that it all changes tomorrow morning, because it seems like everybody gets up about 7 or 8 in the morning and they make their final decisions. With an 11 o'clock game, we usually don't have as much money as if it's a later game. But this game the Arkansas Razorback fans are very, very hungry for a win. They've been away from Razorback Stadium for a month now. I think everybody's ready for them to be back up there playing on home turf. And I think they're going to make some noise this weekend. And if this cold doesn't turn loose a me, I'm going to head up there either this afternoon or early in the morning, and I'm going to go to the game. The Saracen's the presenting sponsor for the game, and and I'm excited because I've never seen a game in Razorback Stadium anytime that when I was at my first Razorback game up there.
Well, it'll be a nice day for football and homecoming and the pageantry that goes along with it, and hopefully you get to see a victory in this one, Neal. I want to ask about what I see in the over-under for Tennessee-Alabama is fewer points than either team scored against each other last year. I love those sort of oddities, when you look at year to year, it's not always going to be the same matchup, but that one kind of stood out to me.
Yeah, I mean, first thing I think on top of my head, well, that's what the transfer portal does to you from one year to the next. Because last year, I think it was a 2-point game, 52 to 50. I can't remember what it was. As a Tennessee fan, I should know what it is, but that game is a very, very interesting game to me on that one. And I am going to be wearing red at the Arkansas game, but it's a little too close to crimson. And after the game, I may have to sneak some orange on somewhere. But I think I'm having to do one of the post-game shows tomorrow, so I'll have to wait until after that. But that Alabama game, all of my Arkansas friends say they want us to want Tennessee to beat beat Alabama because everybody likes to beat Alabama, and now Georgia is sort of coming the same way in the SEC.
What about, across the country? Is the Penn State-Ohio State game getting a lot of action? Or what other games is kind of getting a lot of action?
Well, the funny thing is that the Minnesota-Iowa game with that over and under is flirting with maybe breaking a record. That's actually getting a little attention. Also, the Duke and Florida State game is getting a lot of attention in our area. And a lot of people are hammering Ole Miss against Auburn this weekend, too. So, basically, if it's an SEC game, typically you could almost take the SEC game of the week, you put Arkansas on top, and then you follow it by either Georgia, Alabama, LSU, and whoever they're playing. And that's usually where the money comes in from Arkansas bettors. We are really, really SEC bettors. Now, you have your outliers when there was a lot of hype about Colorado earlier in the year, and a little bit in the NFL last Thursday. The Taylor Swift effect, I guess, with Kelsey. But we're SEC bettors here in Arkansas.
Wait a minute here, Neal. You said there's a Travis Kelsey, Taylor Swift effect in Arkansas for betting on the NFL. Well, you actually see this?
Because let me tell you, last year. Dallas Cowboys were the most bet pro team. This year, the Kansas City Chiefs have overtaken the amount of action. And the difference between last Thursday night's game, where Kansas City was playing with the Taylor Swift effect, and last night's game was different. It was almost 2-1 in the amount. But of course, we didn't have Major League Baseball championship series going on, and the preseason games and things like that. So we did about the same amount last Thursday than we did this Thursday. It was just distributed across hockey and baseball and football this week, where last week everybody was all focused on the Kansas City, and there was a lot of prop on Kelsey with the Taylor Swift thing. So those are some phenomenals that we've seen, and Kansas City is now the number one most bet team outside the Razorbacks here in Arkansas.
Can you do prop bets on number of times that Taylor Swift is shown on television at a Kansas City game? I mean, you can put money on anything, right? Is that doable?
Yeah, it generally no, because that kind of goes over into the entertainment, which they don't want us doing. So if it's not tied to an official stat that's put out by either the NCAA, the team, or the NFL, we kind of avoid anything that you don't have a definitive a record to be able to make the determination on how a bet is graded. So some of those things are fun to kind of think at. Maybe those are the things you do with your buddy, but in regulated sports betting, they kind of frown against us doing things like that.
Well, you mentioned earlier, I think you said that Iowa and Minnesota flirting with a record. I was scanning on the point totals on the BetSaracen's app, and I thought, well, look at Air Force Navy. Makes sense, 34.5 points for the service academies, and I thought that would be the lowest in the country. It's not, by a field goal. Minnesota, Iowa, over under 31.5 points. So I got a couple of questions with this. One, have you ever seen a lower number than that? Two, I'm fascinated by Iowa football just because they only need 10 points to win a game sometimes. Do you find, are sports bettors in Arkansas interested in Iowa too? You know, these narratives, like Southern California doesn't have a defense. Iowa doesn't have an offense. Do you find people betting on those specific ideas sometimes?
Only if the media calls attention to it. If it's a story on ESPN, yep, that's what we're here for. So when it's on ESPN, when you're talking about it, that's the Taylor Swift-Kelsey effect. That got out. I mean, that was making non-sports news out there. So that brought some attention to it. But, when you talk about it, they gravitate towards it. And a new person that's going to be in the marketplace later on this year is ESPN Bet. And it's going to be very, very interesting to see on how they focus the betting attention with their content that comes up. And it's going to be really, really neat to see how that plays out. And of course, we keep eyes on things like that. So, but yeah, like the Iowa thing, if we're talking about it, yeah, they will look at it because all the gambling sites kind of call attention to it, especially since it's an outlier. And this one's really, really interesting. There's been 2 games that have gone off at 31.5, and both times they were Iowa. And I was looking back, and both times those games went under. I think the average, the 22 points is the average points scored in those games. And here we are again, Iowa and Minnesota, and it's at 31.5. And Wednesday, I was asked about it on Wednesday, and when I looked at it, it was briefly at 31 for a short period of time.
Man, wow. Well, I can't wait to see how that thing goes down, Neal. And I hope you have a great time at your first game at Razorback Stadium. Should be a lot of fun. Maybe I'll see you there. Okay?
I'm excited about it. Because I've gotten to go to Bud Walton Arena and look. I've been to a lot of SEC arenas. In Arkansas, Bud Walton Arena, I wouldn't put it up against anywhere in the nation, to be honest with you. And I'm super excited about being in Razorback Stadium tomorrow and being able to experience that. And next year when Tennessee comes to play Razorback, I may be one of those idiots on the front row that are half orange and half red because I'm a house divided because Razorback football is something very, very special, just like my Tennessee Vols.
BetOnline is your #1 source for all your betting needs. Get the latest odds, lines, and matchup reports for baseball, boxing, golf, and more. BetOnline continues to be the fastest and easiest way to place your wagers, including live betting and your favorite casino and card games available to play right from your phone. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and get in on the action. Remember to use our promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet online, where the game starts.